Now, what's going on, y'all? Machiavelli Mills TV. I said I was going to do two videos, right? In this video, I'm going to talk about, people trying to shame Jackson State's alumni for not giving back enough in order to retain Coach Prime, right? Because the narrative is if JSU wanted to keep Coach Primetime Deion Sanders, they should have paid him, right? And they should have paid him with the money from the alumni. It's the alumni's fault because them kids, them folks at the black colleges don't give back no money. Black folks don't never give back to their schools. That's why our schools are in bad conditions. That's why we don't have the same resources that these other schools have. That's why we don't have, all these state-of-the-art facilities that these other predominantly white institutions have, is because our black folks don't ever want to give back. We don't give back nothing. We are trash people at being philanthropic. We don't give back no money, none of that, right? This narrative that the alumni need to give back more money and the school would have been able to pay Coach Prime is something else, right? And I saw this being said by certain people, specifically a man by the name of Roland Martin, right? Roland Martin is often called a Democratic shield by a lot of people. I'm not well versed in the political arena, so I won't get into his political views, right? I won't get into that because I'm not well versed in it. But anyway, Roland Martin tweeted out an interesting message to the public. In order to shame JSU's alumni for being able to help pay for Coach Prime to stay at Jackson State, this is what Roland Martin says. He said, "Today, during my Black Star Network pregame show, the Jackson State alumni president said 13% of their grads give back to the university. That means 87% don't send back a penny. Don't get mad at Deion Sanders for leaving. Talk to the 87% who rock the gear but don't give back." You see, messages like this and some other messages from black people have made it seem like black people are inherently less philanthropic than white Americans and other ethnic groups in this country, right? And, it seems like because our people love celebrities so much, they will go as far as trash our own communities and we'll use Fox News points to cover for an athlete that they like to and trash our whole community because they're so mad that a celebrity that they like are getting any type of criticism. They will trash the whole community, right? Again, first, to try to put the blame on HBCU alumni who are often first-time college students who rely on Pell Grants and student loans at a very high rate, to put the blame on those students, those HBCU students, for not retaining Coach Prime is very trashy to me, right? But let me run some statistics by you all, because Roland Martin tweeted that out. He tweeted out that tweet, so let me run some statistics by you all. Nationally, the university alumni giving rate is 13%, right? The national rate for HBCUs is 7%. So the university alumni rate nationally, the giving rate for the alumni at every school, the average giving rate at every school, predominantly white, period, is 13%. The national rate for HBCUs is 7%. So according to Roland Martin's tweet, Jackson State University is giving back 13%, giving back at a 13% rate, which is the same rate as other universities nationally and twice the rate of the average HBCU, right? So Roland Martin said only 13% of Jackson State alumni give back, which means, and I just told y'all nationally, the university alumni giving rate is 13%, which means that Jackson State University is giving back at the national rate. They're giving back at the exact same rate as other universities nationally and even twice the rate of the average HBCU who gives back 7%. So, to act like, to act like Coach Prime wasn't retained because we don't give back no money, brother, everybody just listen to what the statistics I just gave you all. Let you know that these other institutions ain't giving back that much more than Jackson State alumni, which lets you know there is a deeper problem with why Coach Prime wasn't able to be retained and why the HBCUs cannot pay the coaches. It's much deeper than alumni giving back. Because as I told you, Jackson State gives back at the same rate as a lot of the other institutions nationally, including PWIs. They give back at the exact same rate, 13%, right? And also, here's another statistic for you all that make it seem like white folks just donate so much more back to their schools than black folks, saying things like the Colorado alumni give back to their school. This is why they can afford Coach Prime. This is why they can afford Coach Prime. They give back to their schools. Let me tell y'all something. Colorado alumni give back to their school at a rate of 22%. At a rate of 22%. So that lets you know that, the money for a coaching salary at an institution that supports 25,000 plus undergraduate students didn't come from their alumni either, right? This speaks to the wealth gap between predominantly white institutions and HBCUs, right? And those mega million and sometimes $1 billion endowments that PWIs get that HBCUs never see. So for all y'all acting like, these white institutions and white folks are just much more philanthropic than black people, that's a lie. Cut it out. Cut it out. And I know it's a lie because we just saw Brett Favre, in the honor of trying to look philanthropic, trying to get a facility at his alma mater, he tried to act like he was just philanthropic and trying to get a volleyball facility built at his alma mater, Southern Miss. The brother didn't give back his own money. He went and stole welfare funds from the people in the poorest state in America, Mississippi. So to try to make it seem like, I know he doesn't represent all, but it's a lot of that type of stuff going on. Because a lot of these rich and wealthy folks that are non-black they don't like to use their own money. They don't give back shit either. They go steal some other stuff from somewhere else and then try to get the funds funneled in that way. I'm not saying all, but it's a lot of people who are non-black, whether it be white, Asian, Hispanic, whatever, that go and get funds from elsewhere that's not from their pockets because they don't want to pay for a goddamn thing. So to act like, black folks we just so less philanthropic and, Colorado folks, because, how it go, white folks, they give back to their school, black folks will never get nothing back. They give back at a 22% rate. So when Roland Martin say, blame the Jackson State alumni only give 13% back. What about all these 87 others, what about the 87% of people who don't give back? That's the reason why. Brother, I just told y'all, Colorado only give 22% back to their school, Colorado alumni. So it's a huge chunk, a huge percentage of people not giving nothing back. And yet and still they able to pay Prime $5 million per year and up to $7 million per year with incentives. You tell me it ain't a bigger problem than just alumni not giving back, right? And again, man, let me add this. Alumni from HBCUs that often serve low-income students will never be able to make up for the structural inequalities between PWIs and HBCUs. So it's ironic to me that a black man like Roland Martin, he's preaching community bootstrapping to black people, to blame JSU's alumni for not retaining Coach Prime instead of putting the lack of funds available to pay highly revered coaches like Coach Prime on the social inequality that the HBCU's budgets and assets reflect. Instead, he trying to put it on, he blaming community bootstrapping. And I'm talking like this, I wrote my notes out right here in front of you, so I got notes to guide me on my talking points. I had to type this all out. Roland Martin, who knows better, who's a very smart man, he's trying to blame community bootstrapping. Black folks, pick ourselves up by the bootstraps. If we want to pay Coach Prime, we need to all give our money back, give all the money back at a way better 100% rate. If we did that, we'd be able to pay Coach Prime, and it's our fault that Coach Prime ain't staying with us and he went to the white school because y'all ain't giving back enough to pay for Coach Prime, right? That's Roland Martin's point. As I just told y'all, some of the numbers reflect them other schools, predominantly white schools, ain't giving back not a damn thing either. They're giving back at the same, majority of them giving back at the same rate as Jackson State alumni. So what the hell is it's not about the alumni giving back, right? The problem is that Roland Martin loves primetime so much. Roland Martin and other black people love Deion Prime, and I love Deion Primetime as well. I love Deion. I loved him growing up. I didn't watch him play during my time, but I watched the highlights from him because I loved watching football coming up. My dad would always talk about Deion Primetime Sanders and how cool he was. I would go on YouTube and watch videos of him and became enamored with the man. And just watching him talk, you just want to go play for him and run through a brick wall for that brother when you hear him talk, right? But Roland Martin, just like a lot of other black people across America, love primetime so much, he began speaking anti-black rhetoric to take up for Prime. acting as if black folks we not philanthropic like these other communities and all this and all of that, trashing us. Y'all better give back. That's the reason why. This is ridiculous to me. Because Roland Martin, damn well, he of all people, damn well knows that the endowments and donorship from millionaires, sometimes billionaires, that the PWIs get, along with state appropriations and poor legislation, have placed HBCUs at a severe systemic disadvantage. He knows that. Roland Martin knows that, and he comes out here and being disingenuous because he loves Coach Prime so much. He made it seem like the decision for Coach Prime to go to Colorado was all on the backs of the HBCU alumni not giving back. Brother, that is so irresponsible, and it's, for one, the way you talking is really is shameful. The way you just try to make it seem like black folks just don't get no money back, and that's why he left. Because Colorado ain't giving that much back either at a 22% rate, and they still able to pay their brother $5 million. And up to $7 million in incentives because they get $1 billion endowment. So what the hell is that about? Knock it off, Roland Martin. Knock it off. Because Roland, he like to do all this cussing to shame black folks every time. Y'all ass not giving back with your motherfucking ass. All that shit he like to do, brother. You smarter than that, and you know that ain't why that Coach Prime is staying at Jackson State. You know that it ain't come down to the alumni not giving back. Knock it off, right? And for all of y'all trashing HBCU alumni for not giving back at a higher rate, right? Yes, black folks we can give back some more money. We can give back some more to our institutions. For sure, I encourage us to do so, right? But for all of y'all clowning black folks for not giving back at a very, very high rate, let me remind you all something, man, that some of you all may not know. Black students carry the highest debt load of all student borrowers, right? We carry the highest debt load of all student borrowers, and HBCUs often have to borrow more. HBCU students often have to borrow more since HBCUs cannot give scholarships out at the same rates as PWIs. I'll say it again. Black students carry the highest debt load of all student borrowers, and HBCU students often have to borrow more since HBCUs cannot give scholarships at the same rates as PWIs. So it is extremely hard to give back to your university when you're still paying back loans that you had to take out to attend a university. I'll repeat it again. It's extremely hard for black folks to give back to their university when they still paying back a shit ton of loans to pay back that they had to take out to attend a university. They still paying back the loans to attend a university. So it's hard for them to get back when they're paying a shit ton of loans like that. Especially since like I said before, HBCU students have to often borrow more money since HBCUs cannot give scholarships at the same rate as PWIs, right? It's for some of y'all that say, well, why the hell is black students going in the first place? Why you going there if you gotta take out all these loans? Well, it's the same reason that Shannon Sharp said he had to go to an HBCU. Sometimes a lot of black folks are coming from poor and disenfranchised areas and communities where there's not enough resources in these schools to get these kids properly educated at the same rate as white American students and other non-black students, right? So they aren't educated. The school systems sometimes in some of these black areas are poor, and they're not learning certain things at the same rate as other students. So therefore they test bad. They can't get into the other predominantly white institutions, and the black colleges give them a chance, take a chance on these black kids and allow them to come into the school to give them a chance to get a degree and help coach them up and get them to the right levels they need to be at in order for them to get their qualification to be successful in this world and lead prosperous lives, which is get that piece of paper, that degree, right? The HBCUs take a chance on the kids that a lot of the PWIs will never take because, you didn't test high enough. You didn't test high enough. The HBCUs educate a lot of our people in these poor and disenfranchised areas. They've educated my grandmama, my father, my aunts, my grandmother's sister, my cousins, so on and so forth. My people then was at Alcorn State University, right? At Tougaloo, at my school, Mississippi Valley State University. So, that's why the black kids will still go to the HBCUs and not go to the PWIs, even though they got to take out a lot of loans, because the PWI is not going to let them in if they test low, and it's test low, and black kids test low often because, not often, we don't test low often, but I'm saying some black kids test low because the schools that they go to, there's not enough resources in the school to keep them at the same level and speed as kids, you know, at the schools in the white districts, right? You know, but yeah, man, to me, it's just so crazy. Black folks really love celebrities. And when idol worship comes into play, my people often they lose all ability to think critically when idol worship come into play, when celebrities come into play, right? You see this man here, Andre 3000, is part of one of my favorite group ever in hip hop, Outkast. LeBron James, one of my favorite athletes of all time. If they do some clowned out stuff or some stuff that I feel is wrong, I have no problem criticizing them because my father raised me as a man to understand that no man on this earth is above reproach. I don't care how much you love them. I don't care how much if you idolize them. I don't care if you are enamored with them. If they do something wrong and something that you feel is not right, you can speak on it and speak out, right? Nobody had a problem with Coach Prime leaving the school. Go get your money, black man. I would have took the bread. Go get your money, brother. Nobody mad at that. It was all about how and certain things he did that people felt was wrong with the way he left. From the way his goodbye speech, his speech to the kids when he announced that he accepted the job, the way he spoke it, the way he was talking to the kids. It is what it is. It's the name of the game. You either get terminated or you elevate. You either get terminated or you elevate or something like that. And he wasn't nowhere near getting close to being fired. He talking about it wasn't about the money when the damn show was all about must be the money. And if it is, it's okay. Just say that though, you know? And the way he seemed to lack compassion and empathy with telling those kids, hey, I'm about to go on to a better situation financially, and only a few of y'all probably gonna come with me, my kids, and some other people that are really, really good, but a lot of them gonna have to stay there. Then he told them don't transfer, and I understood some of that because some of them aren't good enough to get to the big Power 5 schools or whatever, and some of them may get lost in the sauce in the portal. But it was just like, man, they wanted to hear that those last 3 years meant as much to him as it meant to them, because they will never get able to play for a guy like Deion Sanders and the ilk of Deion Sanders ever again. A lot of them won't, and a lot of them won't get close to being in the NFL. So this is their moment to play with a guy who their parents revered, who their fathers revered, who is a guy who is like you will run through a big brick wall for. This is their last moment. They got one more game left to play, and Primetime was just like, after it was announced he was leaving, it is what it is, name of the game, you know, hey, y'all talk to TC. Y'all want to talk about something, talk to TC. And it's just like, yeah. And then again, an Instagram post coming off of the Jet when they got one more game left to play. And he didn't have to do that post. But despite what everybody's saying, oh, he had to make it clear he was the coach at Colorado because the transfer portal opened. When it was announced all on TV, it was everywhere that he was the coach. Doing millions of views all across YouTube and on ESPN and Fox Sports. It was talked about everywhere that he was going to Colorado. So everybody knew he was at Colorado. He didn't have to do that dang on post with him coming off of that jet, looking like, I don't know, looking like Diddy, coming off of the jet, shaking hands, kissing babies with Colorado gear on. Must be the money. Coach Prime is here. I'm here. Coach Prime. Prime is here. Coach Prime is, I'm here. Prime time. He didn't have to do all of that. After, and with them having one more game left to play. Could have waited. He posted that hours after they won the SWAC title. He could have waited till the next day or the day after that, but had to do it on the same day they won the SWAC title. I was just like, nah, bro, that's taste. That's distasteful. And the way he was talking to the kids, it was distasteful. But black folks don't want you to criticize Prime because they love him so much that they will in order to cover him, they will come out here and make anti-black talking points to try to absolve Prime of any wrongdoing. Black people out here, black folks calling other black folks, well, you know, when he in Colorado, you know, they gonna appreciate him, they gonna love him. That's why them white kids, they gonna steal from him, they gonna embrace him, they ain't gonna do nothing bad. He ain't gotta worry about that crime out there in Colorado. He gonna be living good. The white folk gonna be, black folks, every time we get something, we mess it up. We robbing stuff, we robbing folks, and you know, we don't treat it well, and you know, we ain't got a safe environment like the white folks got, so he need to go over there with them white folks. They gonna treat him good, they gonna love him, because black folks, we ain't gonna do nothing but contaminate them. Yeah, all that silly, that's like, bro, what are we doing, bro? What are we doing? Because I know some of y'all use this as an opportunity to trash HBCUs because that's what you've been wanting to do for a while in the first place, right? This is another chance for y'all to call HBCUs dirty, ghetto, and trash So y'all taking that opportunity to do that and running with it. Cause y'all don't like, for whatever reason, y'all don't like HBCUs. Maybe you're a non-black person that don't like historically black colleges because you think it's racist. Or maybe you're a black person who wrongly was made fun of for not attending an HBCU, because sometimes our folks can do that, and I know that. Or maybe you're a person who felt like you had a bad experience at the HBCU, and now you just don't like, now you're here to just trash HBCUs every single chance you get, all HBCUs, even though you didn't go to Jackson State. So I don't know, man. It's just, like, again, I saw stuff like this, right? I saw a tweet like this. I can't wait until the full story comes out. Then we'll see that JSU is treating him badly, stealing money and incentives from him, and other irregularities to paint the, like, y'all saying stuff like this, tweeting stuff like this to paint the picture that all HBCUs and black-run administration are inherently more criminal than corrupt. Excuse me, let me say that again. Y'all making tweets like that to paint the picture that all HBCUs and black-run administration are inherently more criminal and corrupt than white institutions. And I don't feel that. I don't feel that at all. Y'all been waiting to send passive-aggressive or direct disrespectful tweets about HBCUs because, like I said before, either you're a non-black person and feels like HBCUs are racist, even though all students of all ethnicities are welcome to HBCUs and often go to HBCUs sometimes. Or you're a person who was made fun of because you didn't go to an HBCU, or you didn't go to an HBCU in general, and when you went to HBCU, you had a bad experience at one, so now you're just all on a tour to trash all HBCUs. It gets ridiculous, man. But like I said before, celebrity worship is so strong in our community that people don't like their idols to be criticized for anything, and they will do anything to cover for them, right? They will even throw the entire black community on the railroad tracks to cover for one man that handles some things wrong, right? And if a man handles some things wrong, they don't want that man to get any constructive criticism. So they will throw our whole community under the bus, trash us out and all type of stuff, and in order to cover for that man. And I don't like that, right? In the same way, and again, I don't compare these two men in any type of way because Deion Sanders is a better human being in 2 lifetimes than this individual I'm about to name, and he will never do what this man has done. But the same way y'all covered for R. Kelly because y'all love R. Kelly so much that you are able to call little babies, young black girls who do not have the cognitive development to understand that they were being groomed by a sexual predator. Y'all call little babies hoes and little slut-like hoes and little hot girls who was hot in the ass. And you told little girls that they, that they P word was hot. And R. Kelly just, they was coming around R. Kelly trying to throw that P word on him, and he took it. Shoot, because they wanted him to. Instead of saying that that man violated little babies and admitting that, after you saw that man, doing foul, heinous stuff with a little baby on camera, you couldn't admit that R. Kelly was wrong because you loved him so much. All that foul stuff he did to that 15-year-old baby on camera. You love R. Kelly so much and you wanted to cover for him so bad that you made all these type of, that you were able to clown little black babies, little girls, underage girls, and make fun of them and call them all out of their names and call them the most despicable things on this earth that you will never want your daughter to be called. If she was groomed by a sexual predator, you wouldn't want your daughter to be called those things. But you called black girls, innocent black girls, those things because you loved R. Kelly so much. And that is the problem that we have with idol worship and celebrity worship in our community. Again, I'm a fan of these two celebrities, but I will hold them accountable if they ever do anything that I feel like is wrong or dangerous to a person, or not even just dangerous, just wrong. Same way I held LeBron James accountable for what he said about Kyrie Irving and how he shouldn't have said that, right? But while we are speaking on Prime's missteps, I want to end this with this, right? Coach Prime, when he got to Colorado and he was doing his press conference, he caught wind of the fact that, he was receiving criticism from the black community, right? And instead of, because I'm a black man who's very careful about when and where I address black folks in my community, and I'm careful about the audience I have when I address my community, right? Because, I don't like snickers and giggles from certain people, especially in my presence, because it sounds like I'm kind of giving it ammunition if I do certain things, like I'm allowing it, right? Social media is different, but in person it feels different, and the optics of it is different, and it hits different. Prime started to talk about how black people felt like he left the black community because he left Jackson, right? And he said they think I left the black community because I left Jackson. And I don't know if anybody asked him this question or he voluntarily said this. So correct me if I'm wrong. But if he voluntarily said this, I was completely against him doing this. And he says, they think that because I left Jackson, I left black people. Last time I checked, I'm still black. I'm a black man. I'm a black man. And then the white audience in Colorado, yeah, you sure right, Prime. You know, they didn't say you sure right, but they just laughing and giggling when he talking about, last time I checked, I'm a black man. I'm a black man. Deion, as if you didn't handle some situations wrong. Nobody mad that, some people mad that he left in general and calling him a sellout, which is wrong. But there are some people who have fair criticisms of Deion Sanders, like Bomani, like my man Bomani Jones. Is it Bomani Jones? Is that Bomani name? Is that Bomani's last name? Yeah, Bomani Jones. Like my man's Bomani Jones, and like myself, who just didn't like the way he handled him leaving, right? But he comes in front of, the white crowd and talk about, I'm still a black man. Like that absolves you from like doing certain things wrong. And then I'm still a black man. Last time I checked, I'm still a black man in front of the, the white crowd, and a predominantly white crowd, where they all I hear in my head is, you show right, Brad. You show right, Brad. You show black. You show black. We so glad you up here. You left that school. You over here with us. You show black. You surely is right, Brad. I didn't like all of that. Them laughing and snickers when he said, I'm still a black man. I was like, I don't like that, because it sounds like, how I don't like black folks being critical of our community in a certain way that they know is disingenuous in front of company, in front of white folks. Not, again, and people are going to say, well, you criticizing Prime, and Bomani was criticizing Prime on CNN. Bomani talks about, was talking about Prime, not the community as a whole. He was talking about the misactions of one individual, one person, not the collective, not our community. Prime was addressing the collective of black people, right? And talking about last time he checked, he's still black and all that. I don't like when black folks do this. Black celebrities do that in front of white audiences. Try to criticize us as a collective, because it gives ammunition and to certain things that they may, to certain things that they may feel about the black community, right? When I say white, anti-black white people, not white people in general. Anti-black white folks or anti-black racists in general. Anti-black racists. When you say certain things in front of them, like I remember when Bill Cosby was on that Pound Cake tour and he was criticizing, it's not the same way. I'm never comparing Prime and Bill Cosby. When Bill Cosby was on the Pound Cake tour telling black folks they need to pull their pants up, they need to, naming their kids these crazy names. Black folks need to raise their kids better, and so on and so forth, in front of a predominantly white audience. That stung in a way never seen before, to hear a white audience laugh and clap and applaud at those type of things, at those type of things that Bill Cosby was saying, because that gives them credence to, oh yeah, even Bill Cosby agrees. Those N-words need to raise their kids better. Those N-words, that's what the anti-black racists were saying. Those N-words need to raise their kids better. Those N-words need to stop naming their kids those funny names. Those N-words need to pull their pants up, and then maybe they'll get treated better in society, right? And while it's not the same equivalent with Deion Sanders, but it was just something I didn't like about the optics of him having a predominantly white audience laughing at the fact, or, laughing at him criticizing black people for being disheartened about his departure. Because it's a nuanced conversation. And them laughing at it, for me, felt like Prime was giving them credence to say that, hey, black folks, the black college should just be lucky he came, and it was nothing wrong with how he handled anything that he left, the way he left. It spoke to a whole lot of different things. I can't really articulate it in a certain way that I want. Something about it I didn't like. But I just had to address these certain claims that were made about the alumni giving back and so on and so forth that were very disingenuous. Y'all let me know what y'all think about the video in the comment section below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, Machiavelli Mills TV. I'm out. Peace.